Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And in today's range report, we're going to be taking a look at another SR-15 pistol from Knight's Armament. And I've reviewed a few of these in the recent past, but never one with a 10.5-inch barrel. And I'm really excited about this one because I know if I was going to own an SR-15 pistol, I would want it in this barrel length, because the whole philosophy of an AR-15 pistol is to get a very compact package. And 10.5 inches is about the shortest barrel length you can have and still get good reliability. So once again, the SR-15 pistol from Knight's Armament is named after Eugene Stoner. SR, Stoner Rifle, and later in his life he worked with Knight's Armament, and they decided to name the firearm after him and this particular design and these upgrades. But something that I've always found fascinating is he never liked the forward assist. And in all of his time with Knight's Armament, they kept the forward assist. And I'm pretty sure that's because they have many military contracts around the world. I've always wondered his thoughts when it came to their firearms and keeping this when he was very much against it. Knight's Armament also makes a pretty basic AR platform gun because it still uses direct impingement, it's a non-adjustable gas block, and it has that forward assist. And I know a lot of modern manufacturers of these guns are trying to go to short stroke gas piston systems with adjustable gas blocks and omitting that forward assist. But Knight's Armament is keeping true to the older design. But I'm really excited to get this thing to the range and find out how it shoots. But before we do that and talk about all the things that I like and don't like, I always want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this amazing firearm, and he lent it to the channel. His name is D. He's a local fan and subscriber, so thank you, D, once again. I always want to thank my Patreon supporters because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here, and I could not do this without their support. And if you guys want to join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, there is a link in the description below, and you get to see all these videos early. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who provides all of the ammunition for these range reports and makes them financially feasible for me, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And here we are once again reviewing another high-end firearm. And most likely, if you're here, you love high-end firearms that are collectible, maybe guns with military provenance. Guns like Colt 1911s, Browning High Power, CZ75s, or Beretta 92s, just to name a few. And you might be in the market for a set of custom wood panel grips to make your guns unique and one of a kind. Well, I have the perfect grip company for you. Brownworks. Brownworks is a custom grip company making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. Mark is an artist and a craftsman. He can apply custom logos, custom engravings, custom textures, finish these grips in a wide variety of colors, create his own laminate woods, and even apply exotic materials like snakeskin and alligator skin to make these grips unique and one of a kind. Anything you can imagine, Mark can create. Every set of grips is made to order, and no two are alike. So I'm going to put a link to his website in the comment section below, as well as a coupon code for 10% off your first order. So please go over there, check out everything he has to offer, and when you place your order for your set of custom grips, please tell Mark the Texas Gun Vault sent you. Alright, so once again, let's talk about the really cool firearm we have on the workbench tonight. The SR-15 by Knight's Armament with a 10.5-inch barrel chambered in 5.56. Now there is one thing to note about this gun that is different than the way it came from the factory, and that of course is the color. I know some people are going to ask. This is not a factory finish. The owner of this firearm, D, did send it off to have it Cerakoted. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I am a big fan of earth tone colors like olive drab and flat dark earth. Now, Knight's Armament does have a few upgrades with their firearms that are a little bit different than standard AR-15s. We have ambi controls with the safety selector switch, the bolt catch, and the magazine release, which of course can be found on both sides of the firearm. We have an upgraded bolt an extractor, and I have made a video and compared this type of bolt with a standard AR-15 bolt in the past. Knights includes a very nice two-stage trigger. We also have a really cool end plate to the receiver, which has a QD slot for your sling, and a flash hider, which is also a QD attachment for suppressors, and I will be running this gun suppressed in this video. So that's what this gun is all about. Now, before we get this to the range and find out how it shoots, as always, I want to talk about the things that I like and don't like. And I always want to start with the positive first. And the first thing I love about this gun is that it is a Knight's Armament. They just have a stellar reputation. And as a collector, I love guns that are used by militaries around the world. And Knight's Armament is a huge supplier of military firearms. They make top quality stuff. And they don't really release a lot of stuff to the civilian market. So when you can get your hands on something like this, it is really, really special. Another thing I love about this gun are the ambi controls. I've already shown you what they look like. And even though I'm a right-handed shooter and standard mil-spec AR-15s work perfectly fine for me, I just like to have all of those options. The next thing I love about this gun, I've already told you, is the barrel length. Personally, the philosophy of use of an AR-15 pistol, or in this case, an SR-15 pistol, is to have a very compact package. And 10.5 inches is the perfect barrel length for a gun like this. And the last thing I love about this gun is the trigger. Knight's Armament makes a fantastic two-stage trigger. It can be a good target trigger, but also typically you can shoot them pretty darn fast. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera, get out the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge, and I'm going to show you what this trigger is all about. So as I said, these Knight's Armament SR-15 pistols have fantastic triggers in them. I love the Knight's Armament two-stage triggers, so I want to show you what this trigger is all about. Let me go ahead and drop the magazine, ensure there is no ammunition in it, and of course, safety check the firearm. And it looks like we are good. So now let me show you the take-up of this trigger. Being a two-stage trigger, it has a very short and light take-up to a very definitive wall, and that thing breaks very crisp and very light. Then of course we have the reset. That is very short, tactile and audible, and then we are right back at that wall. That trigger feels absolutely fantastic. So now let me get out the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge, clear the averages out, and let's see what this trigger pulls at. For our first pull, we have 4 pounds, 1.4 ounces. £4 pounds, 1.5 ounces. 4 pounds, 1.1 ounces. 4 pounds, 0.4 ounces. And finally we have 4 pounds, 4.4 ounces, which gives us an average of 4 pounds, 1.8 ounces. That is pretty darn sweet, especially for a mil-spec firearm. Now there are a few more things about this gun that I like that I forgot to mention earlier, and the first thing is they continue to use the A2 style pistol grip. I've always found these to be very ergonomic for me, and I really like them over many of the other aftermarket options. And they also have a really nice charging handle that is ambidextrous. So all of the controls are ambidextrous, and I love that about this gun. Now let's talk about something about this gun that I don't like. And actually, I kind of lied. There's absolutely nothing about this gun I don't like as it sits here on the workbench. Now, when I take this to the range, I might discover something. But as it sits here, I can't find a single flaw with it. So, let's take this gun to the range. And as it goes with every gun that I review that I can shoulder, and yes, I can shoulder a pistol stabilizing brace, I'm going to start off at 10 yards. So we're going to go to the range, put a magazine through this, see how it shoots, what I think about the trigger, how the recoil is, and see how accurate it is. And then I'll try this gun suppressed, and then we'll go out to further distances and do some other tests. So let's go to the range. And so with the first magazine through this firearm, I can tell you it's shooting really well, but I wouldn't expect less from a Knight's Armament. Now, there are three things about this gun that I really like. First off, this flash hider. Normally when it comes to a firearm chambered in 5.56 with a 10.5-inch barrel, you're going to get a lot of flash and concussion. But this muzzle device is doing a great job at mitigating that. This firearm is also very well balanced. I feel like the center of gravity is right where it needs to be, and it's going to make the gun very maneuverable in close quarters combat or in home defense. And then finally, even though this gun does not have an adjustable gas block, it's not gassy at all. It really feels like it's well balanced with the gas system. But we're going to test this out a little bit more with some suppressors. And the first suppressor we're going to try is really a tiny one. It kind of looks more like a muzzle device than anything else. It's very short. I think it only has 2 or 3 baffles in it. And it is a Knight's Armament suppressor, and the model is the 5.56 QDC MCQ PRT. And Knight's Armament claims this reduces the sound by 12 decibels. Not very much at all, but hopefully the gun will continue to run reliably. I'm curious if this is going to be hearing safe. Now, I am at an indoor range and I don't have equipment to actually measure the decibel reduction, so I'll have to go by my own feelings, but I still am going to be using hearing protection. And of course, this will attach using the QD system, which I cannot show on camera because sometimes YouTube calls it gun modification, and I want to avoid running afoul of the rules. But essentially, this will go over the flash hider and you just rotate the collar at the end. So let's go to the range and see if this little tiny Knight's Armament suppressor does anything at all. And I know it's not really going to be captured on the camera at all, but I can tell you that is not going to be hearing safe. But there is an advantage to using this little tiny suppressor. First off, I think it mates up to this rifle, or pistol in this case, really well. You can see how close it gets to that handguard. I think that looks very attractive. And then it definitely does reduce some of the muzzle rise, and I think it makes the gun a little bit more accurate. You don't have as much recoil, but that's what suppressors pretty much always do. Now, I want to try out a different suppressor. Now, this is more of what I think of a 5.56 suppressor. It's still smaller than some of the other 5.56 suppressors that I own, but it is the model 5.56 QDC CRS PRT. Obviously, it's longer, has more baffles, and more volume. So hopefully, this one is going to perform a little bit better when it comes to decibel reduction. And I believe Knight's Armament claims this gets 24 decibels of reduction. But once again, we'll have to see if this is going to be hearing safe. But I'll just have to kind of judge it based off of what I'm hearing at the range. So let's go back to the range and see how this suppressor works on this SR-15 pistol. And this pistol set up with this suppressor is doing a lot better job than it was with this shorter can. But I'm still not 100% sure this is going to be hearing safe. Based off of the tone that I'm getting at the range, I would have to say it's probably going to be around 140 decibels. I definitely would not want to shoot this without hearing protection at the indoor range. But it's also really important to note that Knight's Armament does not make suppressors to be the quietest. They make them to be the most durable. And when you hold these, they're heavy. They're built like tanks. They're built for militaries, and that's their designed use. So when you as a civilian use these, you're buying them more for the cool factor than the decibel reduction. But so far, I like how this gun is set up with this suppressor, so I'm going to use it for the rest of this review. Now, this suppressor is even reducing the recoil and the muzzle rise better than this one did. All right, so now let's double the distance of this target, and we're going to see if this gun continues to perform well. I'm assuming it will still just be as accurate and perform just as good. So let's go back to the range, put some more rounds through it, and see what happens. And just based on how this gun is performing in shooting, I can tell this would be a great weapons platform for home defense or CQB. Even with this heavy suppressor attached, it's still very well balanced. Something I am noticing that I wish could be changed a little bit is the overall length of pull. Now, there are some rules when it comes to pistol stabilizing braces not being allowed to have a longer length of pull like you could with an SBR or a gun with a proper stock. And after shooting it, I kind of wish I could pull this out just a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure if this has a limiter on it, but it just seems to be a little bit short, and I wish it could be a little bit longer. All right, so the next test I want to do is the bench rest test, and we're going to set out the target at 25 yards. And yes, this gun can go out way further than this and be very accurate at out to 100 or 200 yards. But I think that most people that are going to buy this gun, if you're going to use it for home defense, 25 yards is going to be more than adequate. And if I can shoot a really tight group with this gun at that distance, well, it's obviously going to serve you well at those further distances. So let's go back to the range. Let's take as much of the human element out of the equation as possible and see how this gun groups. And pretty much I'm getting exactly what I would expect out of this pistol. great accuracy. I'm using an unmagnified EOTech, and so I know at further distances with the right optic and the right setup, this thing could be very accurate out to 100, 200 yards, no problem whatsoever. But for close-up engagements, which is what I think this gun is designed for, this thing is going to be a tack driver for you. All right, so the next test I want to do is the shoot fast quick magazine change test. Obviously, I love to shoot guns like this really fast, and I think this two-stage trigger is going to be awesome. I also like to see if I can drop a magazine, get a fresh one in there, and the gun back in action as quickly as possible. So let's go back to the range, see how fast I can shoot this, and see how quickly I can change the magazine out, and if I can keep it on target. And this is one of the things about the Knights Armament two-stage trigger that I really like. Many times when it comes to a two-stage trigger, they're more designed for accuracy than speed, and it kind of slows me down. But this trigger is very, very fast. And as you saw, I can change the magazine out quick. These PMags drop right out of that receiver with no problem whatsoever. But now when it comes to the group on the target, it was shooting a little bit low, and I'm 100% sure it's because the way this EOTech is zeroed. It's zeroed for 25 yards, so I'm going to shoot a little bit lower at these closer distances. So in the next test, I will have to adjust for that. And speaking of the next test, it's my favorite. Well, it's not really a test, it's me just wanting to have some fun. So I'm going to load up one of these magazines and just do a quick mag dump. I want to see how fast I can shoot 30 rounds out of this gun, and I'm also curious how hot this suppressor is getting. So let's go back to the range and just put a whole magazine through this as fast as I can. And that's what I'm talking about. Wow, this gun is so much fun to shoot, and now that I know about its point of impact, I was able to put all those rounds right in the center of the target. And this trigger is super duper fast. I absolutely love that. This gun is so well balanced and so low recoiling. But as I said, I've put a few rounds through this now in quick succession, and I'm curious how hot this Knights Armament can is getting. So luckily, I always bring my laser thermometer to the range. So let me get that out and let's see how hot this silencer is getting. And wow, the mid 600s, I don't think I have ever measured a suppressor getting this hot before. And this is only after about 150 to 200 rounds. But don't worry, these suppressors are designed to last. They're tanks, they're super durable, and they're definitely not flow-through cans. So we're getting a lot of trapped hot gas in there. But this is really hot, but it's not affecting the functionality of the gun or the performance of the suppressor at all. So what are my final thoughts on the Knights Armament SR-15 pistol with the 10.5-inch barrel and the suppressor? Well, this might be my favorite Knights Armament SR-15 I have ever reviewed. It's the right barrel length, it's accurate, it's fast, it's fun. This would be the perfect gun for CQB, home defense, or to be used as a truck gun. And these Knights Armament cans are really durable. They might not be the quietest, but they are built like tanks. So this has just been an awesome experience. So on my star system, how would I rate the Knights Armament SR-15 pistol with a 10.5-inch barrel? Well, I haven't found a single thing wrong with this gun. So yes, it's getting 5 out of 5 stars, an absolutely perfect review. I love this thing. And I'm really curious, what do you guys think of a 10.5-inch barreled SR-15? Is this the right barrel length for a pistol? Tell me in the comment section below. And as always, Thanks for watching.